Okay, we are live now. We can start.
My dear viewers, I welcome all of you on this very, very august platform of Education Pe Charcha. You all know this is Vivekananda, an author, academician, and a public intellectual. And in fact, this is the 40th session on Education Pe Charcha. My dear viewers, as you all know, those who are very much hooked on to our unique and spectacular bandwagon of Education Pe Charcha, you all would appreciate this very important fact that Education Pe Charcha is equivalent to educating the nation. Now, of course, this particular program, we conduct this program under the aegis of Dr. Shri Surendra Pathak, who happens to be an adjunct professor of Vidyapeeth University in Ahmedabad, and technical assistance rendered to us by Sabya Pathak and poster prepared by Mr. Chandra Orav. So, my dear viewers, it is of course the 40th session of Education Pe Charcha. You all know we keep on inviting all sort of achievers from the right field of specialization. Whereunder, in continuation of the same session, today we have invited a very, very important guest. That is a Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya, who happens to be a boyhood friend of mine, and of course, a man who is an expert in the field of marketing. My dear viewers, I think it would be very, very apt and incumbent on the part to just remind all of you that we have already had a unique opportunity of showcasing, the world academician, expert in the field of marketing, Dr. Shri Deepak Jain Sahab, the only Indian who held the position of Dean in United States of America, in Europe, and of course in Asia. In China, last time when we hosted him, he was presiding over the destiny of a very top-class B school in China. My dear viewers, today we have really a great pleasure, a privilege as well, because it is the first time I am being privileged enough to invite one of my beloved friends in Calcutta, where I too studied from. And since boyhood days, I have been knowing Dr. Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya. And of course, one of the important features, apart from all these academic accomplishments, that of course, as the program progresses, we will go on unfolding into into a very versatile persona of his. But exactly, this is very important here to mention that he is an alumnus of a very, very famous school, that is South Point School in Calcutta, where from the Nobel laureate Dr. Abhijit Banerjee had schooled from, had matriculated from. So his alma mater, Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya's alma mater also happens to be very, very illustrious, that is South Point School. My dear viewers, now it is time, without wasting much of time, because we have got all very, very important questions to ask to our distinguished guest today, Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya from South Calcutta Business School. So, before I just invite him, I think that it becomes little relevant here to just small introduction, because of course, as the program will progress, all his introduction will definitely tumble out of my very, very meticulously preserved all details. But little bit introduction becomes very, very relevant at this very juncture. Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya, Associate Professor of Marketing, Calcutta Business School, and former Chairperson Placement and Corporate Relations. And of course, as I was telling all of you, he happens to be an alumnus of famous South Point School, Kolkata, because South Point, even in those days when I was studying, and when Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya was studying, at that point in time, South Point was regarded as the best school in Asia. Mind you, my dear viewers, it was regarded as the best school in Asia. And after Professor Abhijit Banerjee had obtained Nobel Prize, of course, South Point had become, very, very famous across the world. And now, we have an immense pleasure today to invite not only a very stalwart professor, but most importantly, he happens to be a boyhood friend too. So that, of course, you can say it is a bonanza for me as well, a sort of double whammy for me, because I have invited a very recognized academician from Kolkata, a city or a citadel of scholars, and most importantly, he happens to be a boyhood friend too. So that, of course, is a double whammy, or as well as a bonanza. My dear viewers, Professor, straight away I'm coming to the very first question to Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya. So, Mr. Pinaki, Professor Pinaki, we have an immense pleasure, I'll tell you. And here it goes, the very first question. That's, walking down the memory lane, if you can dig out some incidents from your famous South Point school, your alma mater, to inform our viewers how those incidents shaped your future career plan, as you graduated into a very recognized professor in South Kolkata. Your take, please, Professor Pinaki Ranjan.
Okay.
You are most welcome.
I think Vivek, since we are known to each other, I mean, good evening, viewers. First of all, good evening, viewers, and good evening, Vivek, who is my childhood friend. Once again, as he said, and to all the people who are here, my seniors who are there, Dr. Pathak, who is not here right now, but I think he will be joining shortly. Well, my first gesture is namaskar to all of you, right? And the more important is, I think Vivek, you should call me Pinaki because we are known to each other as by names only, right? There's no point of saying professor and all that. Well, I'm thankful to you that you have invited me for this particular session today. Am I audible properly to you? Am I audible
Yes,
to you
yes.
properly? Okay. You see, when we went to South Point High School, South Point at that point of time was, as you said, was one of the best schools in the country. In fact, in Asia, so to say. And if you remember, when Kapil Dev made his 32nd Test victory, South Point made a ball and presented it to Kapil Dev, which again came in the news, and it was in the Book of Knowledge, Encyclopedia, at that time, after we passed out, of course. So, South Point had its own glories in different forms, different formats, and we have been tuned to that, that culture, that system, the tradition, that we were mostly into studies. We are given much stresses on studies mostly. But today, what we see and how we see is not the same what we saw during our days. 40 years back, when you look back, you see that same school, I went there a few days back for my daughter's examination. I found the school has changed a lot. But the color of the school has not changed. The structure is almost the same, but there has been transformation outside. Of course, it has to be 40 years, is 4 decades, is not a small time for anyone. Okay. But, I really enjoyed when I now go back and look back or lament those days. I really find, as they say, that it was really given us a great opportunity, probably in the career, in the learning curve, the learning graph, and the diligence, which is more important for a person to sustain in this world of turbulence. We have seen in this last 2 years that what COVID has already given us, right? And we have come out of that, hopefully by now. But by the grace of God, probably all of us probably have taken different tumultuous turn in their life. But our friends used to, be in touch with each other throughout the time in this particular period. This is what I can say, this is something which is unique. Which is unique in nature. Of course, I am proud of my school and my school days.
Thanks a lot. So, of course, Pinku, I would like to henceforth refer him because he made me very much at ease. My dear viewers, I remember I told you even in the past session when great Nani Palkiwala would come to deliver his speeches in the wake of the union budget. Once I remember while offering vote of thanks, great C.R. Irani, the managing director of the Statesman, had said that he is the man who carries, intelligence as well as knowledge with a sense of an ease. So Pinku has made me at ease by just saying that we should call each other by name. Thanks a lot for for just going down the memory lane and just digging out some of the very important incidents and talking about the glory of South Point. Of course, indeed, my dear viewers, whereas Pinku had a great privilege of studying in such a great numero we can say school. Of course, I did pursue my schooling from National High School, a pretty mediocre, vis-a-vis that of great South Point School. Now I'm coming to the second question, Pinku, without wasting much of time, because you have been an expert in the field of marketing. We have got so many important questions for your kind consideration and your very appropriate response to them. For your first, this question goes in this way. You did your PhD, business management in marketing from University of Calcutta. My dear viewers, it was Calcutta then. Today it has become Kolkata. It is known to one and all. So you did your marketing from Calcutta under title of marketing of fast moving consumer goods, which is now referred to as FMCG. Now there I find in your CV, you are the best person to, to interpret it as well as to explain the very intricate, which I find it quite intricate, and that is for you to, to simplify it. Here it was written an empirical analysis awarded in 2008. So could you elaborate on what this empirical analysis is all about vis-a-vis in relation to consumer FMCG? Please, your take on this.
Okay, you see, when you go for research, see, there are different areas of research, okay, as we call it. They are exploratory in nature, they are descriptive in nature, and they are empirical in nature. Say, for example, I give you a small example if you understand. Okay, now if I ask you, Vivek, do you like to? Where do you like to stay, Kolkata or Ranchi? Or you say, I give you two options, Kolkata or Ranchi. You say, or say I say like this, Vivek, do you want to stay in Kolkata? You say yes or no, right? Now, if you say yes, and then I ask you, where would you like to stay? Give me 5 names. You say Ranchi, Patna, Mumbai, Chandigarh, Chennai, right? Okay, like that. Now you say I'm giving you options to mention. But when I am trying to make you understand that this is what we're trying to describe, right? When I ask you that, Vivek, where you are exactly, why would you like to stay in Ranchi? What are the reasons behind staying in Ranchi? So you mentioned that, well, the Ranchi has a good climate, probably because of climate, because of water, because of the weather, or because of the hills, because of the other conveniences. Other means that it's a small city or less populated city. Facilities are better, right? Maybe housing costs are lesser. So there may be 10, 15 answers to that, right? When you go deep into this to understand why you are staying in Ranchi, right? That means there are factors which are influencing yourself to stay in Ranchi. So now I'm trying to dig into into the details of it, okay, and trying to understand why want to stay in Ranchi. This is, that's why we call it empirical, because we are going for a deeper understanding of the subject. Taking a cue from this, if you talk of FMCG, you see any product which has got a shelf life of, say, a product or service which has got a shelf life, really, a product which has got a shelf life of, say, less than a year. Today we call it around a year and a half maximum, right? We call it FMCG. Why? Because we consume them very fast. It spans from, say, your atta flour, or even to shoe polish also as well. Anything for that purpose, right? How is it different from FMCG? Say you have got a TV. You don't purchase a TV every month or every year for that purpose, right? You purchase once and you take it for at least 5 to 10 years, right? Minimum. Or maybe till the time the TV doesn't get blank or doesn't start working, right? You then change it, right? But for atta, you consume it very fast. Or even you see, for that purpose, if you purchase atta and keep it in stock for, say, 2 months or 3 months, okay, you will find that the particular atta will be having certain amount of insects inside it, as we call it kira, right? Small kira, right? If you remember those days when aunt or your mother or my mother used to put this atta or put this suji or besan in the tray and keep it in the sunshine, because during those days we are not so much convenient about this, right? So these concepts have come in slowly and steadily. Once we have emerged, once we have come to know, these concepts were there, but known to people. This has come to us, our culture, post probably LPG, as we call it, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Because most of these concepts, most of these ideas have taken a rebirth or reshape. It has been reshaped, I should say, post this period. Okay, and more probably a post 2K, Y2K. So this is or that was why the purpose of this of saying is that I was into industry at that point of time. when I thought of doing my PhD. And I saw one of my, and when I joined academics, I was thinking of doing PhD in FMCG only, but in some other area. So when I was thinking one day, I had the opportunity to guide few of my students during the first year. They've got a summer internship program, and that they got a chance to work in 2 days pens during that time. Now I found pen a very interesting item, a very interesting item to work with, because probably no one has worked with pens. It's a writing instrument. We all have used that, but how many of us know that how many different types of pens are there in the market? What is the customer variance, customer understanding of the pens in the market? Today pens have become FMCG. So today you buy a pen, you get it 3 rupees, you just write it off, the ink dries off or finishes, you just throw it out. This concept was there when we were child in class 7, 8, 9, 10. We used to see people coming from America used to bring those pens. They used to say use and throw pens, right? They have a concept of use and throw, which slowly came into our culture also as well. So we have taken this Americanized culture into our Indian system today. Of course, for the last 20 to 25 years. And that is why I thought of going for my research in this area.
Thanks a lot for explicating on a very important subject, because of course you're the best person since you did a lot of extensive research and you have explained it in a very meticulous details for the clarity of understanding of all our viewers, of course for the clarity of understanding of mine as well. My dear viewers, of course what Pinku says, our esteemed guest says, of course, being when I got separated from Calcutta, the sort of excruciating pain I experienced cannot be described in words, because that is the sort of inseparable relationship or relations between me as well as Pinku or whoever has been the denizen of Kolkata city or Calcutta city. They are inseparable with Calcutta, the city of joy. Thanks a lot. Now we are coming to the very
I've got a point, Vivek, if you don't mind, of course. Viewers do not know my nickname, so call me Pinaki, that's better. Because it's going live. So it's better to call me Pinaki that way. Okay. That's my formal name and okay.
Indeed, so my dear
because
viewers,
I know your nickname, which I have not mentioned here.
So actually, dear viewers, as even though in a very lighter vein, but we have been talking about the great city, and Kolkata had produced the best of people in every time and era. The greatest of intellectuals that India showcases even today, or it had showcased in the past, right from Swami Vivekananda to Gurudev Tagore to Sri Aurobindo, all hail from the greatest metropolis of this country. And therefore, whoever has had any relations with Calcutta can never forget it. And we are inseparable from that of great city of Kolkata. Now coming to this, and one more here, Pinku, I would like you to respond to my question because you are the best person to respond. You have been, a very expert faculty in marketing area, or in the marketing specialization. Why you think? Because it is a very relevant question. I would like to tell you, one of the students from studying in a management college in Calcutta, when I stumbled upon him, I just asked him about Philip Kotler, whether he had read any book of Philip Kotler. He expressed his ignorance. Let alone reading his book, even expresses ignorance about the name of the great marketing guru, that is Philip Kotler. So I ask this question straightway to you because you are a marketing expert. Why you think that Philip Kotler is inseparable from that of marketing arena or marketing field of expertise or specialization? Your take on this, please.
Okay. You see, if you have the first edition of Philip Kotler, that was published in 1969, if I'm not mistaken, 69 or 70. If you read the first edition of Philip Kotler, and if you read today's Philip Kotler, as I said, there has been transgression for a period of time. Things have changed a lot. But the basics of marketing has not changed. I tell my class students, even today also, the same thing. The basics can never change. See, the foundation which we have learned, the basics of mathematics which we have studied, the basics of physics, chemistry which we have studied, the basics of humanities which you have studied, say English or Hindi or Bengali or whatever, right? They have not changed. What has changed is things have taken its own course. Things have been meandering into this reality world, which is now today what we see. Philip Kotler was basically an economist. When he had the idea why he went for this book is he felt that without economics, marketing cannot sustain because need to have a little bit of knowledge about economics also as well. Why? Because you see, you are dealing with a market, right? And if you're dealing, say, you are manufacturing a particular product. Now, this is I give this example that this is this particular telecast show which you are now doing. See, it is you are doing for the nation, for the good, right? But definitely there is some purpose behind it also as well. Maybe because of your promotion, maybe because of the channel's promotion, maybe because of something or the other, right? So everything has a market value, right? And now what we define as value is benefit by cost. Now, what is benefit by cost? Benefit means there are certain tangible benefits, certain intangible benefits, and certain benefits which are psychological in nature. Now, when you go for this particular channel, you see it's being aired, right? Once you are airing it, you have got certain because you are sitting there, I am sitting here, okay, and people are getting some amount of benefit out of this. Some of them who are listening to it maybe probably have been able to understand what I am trying to say them in the most easiest language. So if they understand that, that is the intangible benefit which will be accruing to them today. Third part is the psychological benefit. Now that psychological benefit is that they feel that, well, okay, we were not having an idea, but today after hearing Dr. Bhattacharya, we have learned something out of this. This is again a very important point, right? You understand my point? Am I right? This is how So there are different phases in marketing also as well. There's a demand. When you have a demand, you accordingly meet up your product. So as you call it, need, want, and demand, the basics of marketing. See a person, I always tell this into my class, a person, say you don't have enough amount of money, today a villager, right? But he has to survive on something, right? So he has to survive on, say, food, clothing, and shelter. That is roti, kapra, or makan. Now, this roti, kapra, or makan, you also have it, I also have it, right? That villager also has it, right? So how does it differ? Which scale it differs? It differs in the need variances. Now, when that need is on a higher up scale, it is called want. When the want is on a higher up scale, it's called demand. Okay. So what the villager could have at 5 rupees or 10 rupees, you cannot have it at the same price or same rate. You give it at a different rate altogether, right? Am I clear? Right? So that is how that is how we differentiate it. This is the basic of marketing. And that is why if you read Kotler, you'll understand this. This is very difficult to say all this in such a short time. But these are the basics of marketing. Today, marketing has changed from marketing 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0 to 4.0. Today, industry 4.0 has come in, wherein technology has been taken care of. It's the advent of technology, which is also guiding our system, our rule, guiding our nation. But we cannot think of without technology. Today, you are in Ranchi, I am in Kolkata. We are on technology, and the person who is handling this is in, say, as you said, he is in Madhya Pradesh, right? So so that is what the boon of technology is. But there are also bane of technologies also as well. You have to understand that also as well, right? So the bane, as anything for the purpose, has a boon, has a bane also as well, right? Am I clear to you?
Right. So actually, what you are trying to say, my dear viewers, what I have understood from his explication or elucidation is that the template, what Philip Kotler, even though he had stayed in America, has been staying in United States of America, but the basic fundamentals of marketing, what he what he has articulated, or what he has encapsulated in his books, that applies uniformly to to every different place and to across the world. So the pattern might change, but the basics of fundamentals remains almost the same. That is what Pinku, Professor Pinku had tried to elaborate through his own exemplification.
Professor Pinaki. That's a better way.
Pinku,
Pinaki.
I want to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
While you were elaborating on this, suddenly a question cropped in my mind. This is not the question I have written. I'm just deviating. We hosted Professor Deepak Jain Sahab. As I already informed my viewers and to our esteemed guest also, that he is also a marketing professor. He said to me that when he went to America, he was basically a man of maths and stats, because he had done from Indian Statistical Institute, then he went to America. So once, while he was teaching mathematics, few students rushed to him, and they tried to convince him as to why he was not taking to marketing, because they said to him that, Professor, you have a mathematical precision, and therefore if you take to marketing, it will be of tremendous help to you as well as to the large number of students. You also, now after quoting that particular instance, which readily came to my mind, you also happen to be from physics background, mathematics and chemistry. So your switching over to marketing has helped you on account of your being from mathematics and physics background. Your take on this?
Yeah, first of all, if you've forgotten, I'm a student of chemistry basically, so I'm not physics. I'm a student of chemistry with physics and chemistry and mathematics as my secondary subjects. But yeah, see, the basic purpose is, it's not that always it happens, but what happens if you are a science student, management is, what I call it as like this, the definition which I give, not anyone's definition, that is maximum achievement netted after getting employees motivated, evolving new techniques. You see the words, if you take the first words of each of this, the acronym comes to management. Okay, so I repeat, maximum achievement netted after getting employees motivated, evolving new techniques, right? Now this itself means that management is not something which is bound or it's within a particular place. Of course, it is a bounded rationality. It is very, very important. Now, what do you mean by bounded rationality? Rationality means that, when you talk of rationality, there are certain issues. So, for example, if I say that this particular product should not cost you more than 5 rupees. Now, why it should not be more than 5 rupees? They should justify it. Who will justify it? It is you as a marketer who should justify it. Because if you can purchase it at less than 5 rupees, with a profit of yours, say at 10%, 20%, whatever it is, you can sell it at 5 rupees, right? Right. But if you are not able to do it, right, then that means you are making a loss. Now, it is, when you study management, you read all the subjects, but that logical inclination is probably more effective in understanding management. And that is why we say, a student of science or technology, a student of who has done the basics in those days. Today we find engineering colleges across the country doing so many things. We have seen analytics taking a big chunk. But again, see, analytics, marketing analytics. We talk of analytics. Analytics means what? You have certain data, certain methods, certain amount of data which you are handling. Now, if I tell you for this particular program, you have got a viewership of say 1,000, for example. Okay. Now, on some other day, you have a viewership of say for example 800. On a third day, you have viewership of say 1,400. That means what? That means your graph is not continuous. It is sporadic in nature, right? Now that means if I go for this, this is a 48th session. So if I start from the first session till the 50th session, if I take that particular data, I will see how the trend has taken place. So so if I ask you, if I try to find out your influence on the society, your influence on the nation, I will be able to derive a data set, derive a particular graph or a particular method, which will definitely tell me, or I will tell you that, well, you see, this is how you have done it. So whether you should continue, improve, or discontinue is up to you. So that means it's a decision. So the decision is being done by this. This is why, this is what is more important to understand. When you're a student of, it's not marketing. When you're a student of marketing, you learn finance, you learn operations, you learn HR. Because marketing is such a subject which makes you to learn everything. Because you see, today, when you are going for this particular program, you introduce yourself, you introduce me, right? What is the purpose of this? We need you could not have done it, but why you did it? Because you wanted to make your viewers feel that, yes, this is Vivekananda Jha or this is Dr. Pinaki and Bhattacharya. So in other words, you are also to some extent selling yourself as well. And that is what you do, or what we do, consciously or unconsciously. The second part of this is marketing. Why? Because you see, again, the definition of marketing, as you say, see, when we think of products, profit through sales maximization is, we call it profit through sales maximization is sales. But when we talk of marketing, it is profit through customer satisfaction. Now, you have purchased a product. Whether you are satisfied or not is very important for that. There, when you find that, definitely you will see that if you are able to satisfy your customer, the profit will definitely increase because the loyalty will come back to you. So there are different, different areas, different verticals of marketing, different theories of marketing, which I'm not going into because this is a basically a talk show sort of discussion mode. So those are there. But the more you go into it, the more you learn about it, the more it is interesting. So as you say, the more you swim deep into the sea, you see that you don't know. I don't know anything. Even today, I have not learned anything, so to say, honestly. There's so much to learn in this world.
Thanks. Great, actually, Pinku. And my dear viewers, what we have understood from all these, elaboration, that those who with a mathematical background or background of physics or chemistry, because those who study chemistry, they also simultaneously have to study physics and mathematics. So they are precise in terms of data analysis. And once you have an eye to data, and you can easily work out so many different formulations and different permutations and combinations that, that what he has very correctly and precisely, he has already elaborated or articulated, this point so meticulously.
I have one more point to say, Vivek, here. That is, you see, data is not the only point, because today, a person, a household person who doesn't have understanding of data, right? You see, if you track him or her, you'll see, the lady particularly, your mother or my mother, they never had all this opportunity, right? But they used to keep something in mind. How could they do it? If you think that way, how could they do it? They had something in their mind, some intuitions, some logical analysis. Probably they might not have been able to go through mathematics. So that means, is it not that those who have not studied mathematics, they cannot go for marketing? They can. You have to understand, as I said, you have to understand and internalize the subject. It's very important for you. The more you internalize it, the more you understand it, because there are certain rules of the game you have to understand, because ultimately the customer is the king, as we call it, right? And when you think of customer, every day, as the famous economist said, Galbraith, that marketers are luring customers every day by producing new products. But whether the customer will go for it or not, it's absolutely the customer's choice. That is what consumer behavior is. So when you go for consumer behavior, that is again a part of marketing. So you are trying to understand the behavioral pattern, which is again psychological in nature. Some sort of some sort of psychological. It's purely psychological in nature. Okay, am I clear? I think hopefully I'm very clear to you all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now I'm coming straight away to the next question. You did your master's in business administration, MBA, that is, the abbreviate, or you can say the acronym, in financial management from University of Burdwan in 1993. And thereafter you switched over to Calcutta University for your marketing in PhD. So why after doing MBA in finance, there was a switch over to marketing? What was the rationale behind it?
Okay, I put it this way, Vivek. You had done, if I am not mistaken, you've done BCom and then you go for your other courses, right? Why you have become an author now? Why you have become an author now, or you become a in this profession? You see, as I said, right? Your course meanders, your career meanders at different point of time. When I did MBA in finance, my objective was something different, because if you remember those days, I passed out in 1993, right? And in those days, the PV Narasimha government, Manmohan Singh, as we call it, Manmohanomics, right? During that time, introduced this liberalization, privatization, and globalization, right? LPG, as we call it, right? And we saw a number of companies, number of organizations, number of multinational companies coming to India and starting the operations in financial services. Now, what was financial services? It was basically, again, divided into two types. One is fund-based and one is fee-based. You saw the Reserve Bank also opened the pathway, the gateway to create non-banking finance companies, right? Because in many places, the banks were not able to enter because of their old system. The banks were not able to enter to those places. So this non-banking finance companies basically thought of, or they entered into a consortium with the different bankers, got a fund, and from that they used to lend those funds to different corporates who were coming during that time. I was a part of that also. And that was the reason why I went from why I chose finance, because I already had an inclination into marketing. But product marketing was a little different during that time. Or rather, I was more, you can say, I thought of, this is a new area. Why don't I try it out? So as you know, I just left my university and I joined Mumbai. I went to Mumbai in 1993. And from there, and then I started this, I was into merchant banking. I even went to the stock market. I have handled those shares. I have gone to the stock markets. I have supported those jobbers in those days. Okay. And then I learned the tricks of the trade at that point of time. It was really a very tough time for me to understand, because what I read in the textbooks was not exactly matching with what the markets were doing. Even I saw the slide in the share prices someday when there was a rain suddenly. I was unable to understand why it so happened. So I asked my boss, my MD, so why this happened? He said, this is the market. This is the finance market in Mumbai, where it doesn't take anything to do. Now, today also we see the same thing. Today, if the stock, if you see the Sensex, it went up to more than 62,000, and today it is hovering around say 55,000 or so. Why this downfall? Can you tell me? You cannot say exactly. No technical analysis, no sensitivity analysis, no analysis can exactly. I can predict to a certain extent, but not exactly, right? So this is the beauty, which I wanted to understand. So I again put out this point, that I had a tendency to understand this subject. I had a tendency to market myself or see how the marketing works there. And thankfully, by the grace of God, I had been moving around in all the departments, right from loan to syndication to bank consortium to fixed deposits, merchant banking, and I have learned a lot in those areas. But of course, the days have changed. The companies, a few of them are there still, but the rules have changed. Of course, we saw the evolution of control of capital issues during that time. SEBI came up. We used to go to SEBI regularly. We had friends there. I had the opportunity to meet the CGM of Reserve Bank of India in Mumbai and Kolkata, who was very close to me and was very fond of me also discussing all this. So I am really grateful to all of them, because I could learn so many things out of that. So this is why I do not lament that why I did finance. So, yeah, please tell me.
Yes, great. Actually, my dear viewers. So here, Pinku, that what exactly he has been trying to add on, and we do subscribe to his wisdom. In as much as after having learned the skills of finance and given his inclination for marketing, if there is a proper amalgam of both, obviously what he has tried to the sort of details which he has just disclosed, or he has means fastidiously he has brought in the public domain for all of us to understand. He's very penchant for being, for having worked in different areas, right from merchant banking, since into that of also different organizations and intricacies of understanding the banking, Reserve Bank guidelines and regulations. My dear viewers, here I would like to just say on personal note, as our esteemed guest has just mentioned about globalization, era of economic liberalization. At that point in time, I was doing my auditing, I was means into my chartered accountancy course, and there in Bengal, chemical was a very important government organization in Calcutta, and every day we would go for auditing. We would find the staff members were all tense, and they had all sort of anxiety and concerns. Every day they would ask us if we heard some new information or something, because they were really terribly concerned that even Bengal chemical could be privatized. So when our esteemed guest has just broached the very important those era or those days of economic liberalization, ushered in by Dr. Manmohan Singh under the stewardship of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, it came, it tumbled out of the memory. Indeed, those were the turbulent days, and he had, of course, mastered all that, or he had tried to learn the different skills which has enabled him to become a marketing guru today. Great, Pinku.
I'm not a guru. I don't say I'm a guru.
Guru means who? What exactly we mean by guru? Guru means those who are expert. And today, by the grace of God, you spent more than 3 decades into the field of management teaching. So, of course, you are a guru. Now, coming to the next point, you are very, very important area now coming to. We are touching it because we have to be, very fast now. Time is running out, and we have so many questions to consider. Your areas of research included emerging concepts in consumer behavior. Now, I'm putting this question before you. How a market analyst making a product survey can ensure the favorable response from the consumer vis-a-vis the new product? Should I repeat the question again?
No, what you're trying to say is, for example, you are saying that a marketing analyst, you say, right? Right? You are saying, can you repeat the question once again?
I'm just repeating it. You see, your areas of research included emerging concepts in consumer behavior. Right. That has been the area of research. My question goes in this way: how a marketing analyst, making a product survey, can ensure the favorable response from the consumers vis-a-vis the launching of the new product?
Okay. Okay. I put it this way. Now, Vivek, again, do you use Reen soap?
I beg your pardon?
Reen, R-I-N, Reen soap.
We used to, yes, we used it.
No, one second. You used to use, right? You said you used to use, right? Okay. Now, what do you use?
You can say rinse. Okay, no issue.
No. Now I will answer you in your line only. See,
actually, we use so many recent stuff. Rinse is also a part of it, but there are others like
you cannot answer me now, because I tell you now. Because Reen is not available nowadays. It is Reen Supreme. Now it is Surf Excel, right? The bar is known as Surf Excel. You might have seen an ad a few years back that Reen is not there, Surf Excel nowadays, right? Now, why I'm saying so? That is what is my part. Now, why Reen went off and Surf Excel came in? Okay. Now, if you analyze in the market that one particular product which is there has been taken off, something else has been added. Now, there's what did the ad say? Same price, better product. That means what? That means they're trying to lure the consumers, the customers, that today what you were getting a better product at the same price. So your concern about the product which you are already loyal with is not changed. It has been improved further. So we are concerned about you. Am I clear to you? This is, this is this is an analysis. This is an analysis, and this is not done in a day or two. If you see those marketing analyst firms or the analytical firms, say Thomson, Nelson, then MDRA, then the other one, they are all doing this in different formats. Our students, when they used to go to survey, they used to give them a 5-page questionnaire. Even my students, when they go for a survey, they take 5-page questionnaire. But as I told you, if you remember sometime back in the very beginning, that we try to delve into the person's mind. See, I cannot delve into your mind right from there, but I wanted to ask you a question which we are fumbling probably, right? Because you couldn't remember that, right? Now, if I ask you, say, for example, you used forehands during those days, right? Do you use forehands today? Do you use forehands today? I said you used to consume forehands toothpaste during those days, right? Our days, right?
Right.
Today, do you use that forehands toothpaste?
No.
But why do you use that? But why did you use at that particular point of time? And
Because
why you are not using once again? And why you are not using it today? Your answer to the question which you have asked me lies in this.
Okay. Because at that point in time, we thought that it was the best one, and now
that means there's a paradigm shift in your behavioral pattern, which probably has been enriched over a period of time. One. Two, you have thought what it was there at that particular point of time. Today, we have got a better version of this. So as a normal human being, we always think of this. As I said, that need, want, and demand. So today you have the purchasing power. So you have gone for a better one, right? But the person who used to use forehands during those days, they have not gone to forehands. They might be using Neem Datan today. Am I able to understand?
Right. Great. Yes, indeed. You have given a very, I would say, apt example. You quoted because it is very, candid for all of us to understand. Because with the sort of, with the sort of candidness you responded to this, I think even in the layman's parlance, it becomes very clear to all of us that how the paradigm shift that you've explained through the marketing concept, it has dawned upon us the very intricacy in the market, in the consumer's behavior pertaining to the change in time. Thanks a lot for explaining us in such a meticulous details. Coming to the very next question, Pinku, is very important. Your another research area has been the consumer decision making of Generation Z. Could you explain to our viewers about the concept of Generation Z, please? Your take on this.
Yeah, see, we have been born and brought up in an era, again, when we saw Amin Sayani, if you remember, Vinaka Gitmala, okay, Man Chahe Geet, right? And if you remember those days, those Australian cricket matches at night or early in the morning, or England matches late in the night, right? You used to sit down radio transistor, glued to a transistor set and listen to that, right? Today you have sitting in your home, you have OTT, right? So you see, now the person, if you tell these people today, those who are of this age, my daughter, if I tell her that, well, Amin Sayani was there, he says, who is Amin Sayani? What on earth did he do? He doesn't know about it. So we are Generation X. People who have been born after 1997, they have been called Generation Z, Gen Z as we call it. Why the Gen Z? Because they have seen a system which is totally different or just evolved, just changed. They are probably they have seen computers, mobile phones, laptops more than anything else. We have seen football playgrounds. They have not seen that much. We have seen water being taken in, those earthen pots. they have seen refrigerators and coolers and water bottles, plastic PET bottles to drink water. So these are the phenomenal changes just taking place. That is why we call it Gen Z. Now the Gen Z, how they change themselves, why they change, why what are the changes they do show us. You have to understand that, because today you see any product which comes in the market, it is being targeted to this younger generation. You see, my daughter knows better than me how to use a boat earpod. I don't know much about it. She tells me, or she knows use the computer much better than me. Though I know it. At times I ask her. She knows programming better than me, and it's more handy with her. But she does not know how to sing a song which Amin Saini or doing those days Rahman Jofi had sung. They listen to it in different, because today they have seen the remake of this song. That's my point. So we have seen, we have passed Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. They are only Gen Z. That's why they are Gen Z. So Z means they are approaching towards a point, or rather, they have developed themselves in different ways. But they have seen the changes, the digital changes more than anything else.
Great. Thanks a lot, Pinku. Our esteemed guest has really, explicated on this, by through exemplification, which becomes absolutely incumbent on our part as to what he's trying to say. Indeed, Amin Saini, the moment he has uttered the great, the immortal name, it came readily to our mind, because in those days, we were brought up on his name because he was a great commentator. But today, this generation, as he has said, and absolutely, there is no denying the fact, even I think that barely anyone of this generation would be able to reckon with such a powerful name of Amin Saini. Thanks a lot, Pinku. Indeed, you made a point. We are going to next question, because we are going to extract the best of you within the shortest possible time, because time constant is always attached to us. This is a very important question. You have been holding several co-curricular responsibilities from time to time, one of which was organizing international study tour to Malaysia in 2017, if I'm not wrong. Can you tell us that what sort of benefits accrued to the students from that tour? Your take on this, please.
Okay, you see, actually we thought about it because students today, as I said, this Gen Z students, when they get a job, and most of these companies, when they come to this campus or when they go for this procedures, they want different cultural aspects of the student. Okay? Not like us. Okay? Unlike us, our students today's generation is much more flamboyant in nature. The purpose of this was to give them a visibility, to give them an idea, and to give them a chance to meet the international students. It was a sort of a platform where they exchange their views in front of those international students, international faculty members. We expressed ourselves. We had an interaction of ideas, exchange of views. It was we had different sessions. When I attended those different sessions with the ambassador, His Excellency of US, who came there during that time. I had the opportunity to meet him also at that time. I met him. We discussed so many issues, from which, of course, things have taken place a little bit. We are on the track. These things definitely happen when you go to the exposure is very important. I do tell you one a very small thing to make you understand. See, I am a non-veg person, as you know, right? But I don't take fish much, right? And my family, as you know, my mother had a horrid time in taking me to have fish. I don't take fish much, but when I went to Malaysia, I didn't take any fish. I went to this, the mall, Sunway Mall, famous mall there. We saw different types of, fish heads chopped, and the fish heads were, the skull was taken out, the inside material was taken out, and they cooked and given to you. I couldn't squid, this sharks, shrimps. Okay, I was not very much fond of that. I couldn't take anything of them. I said no. I would like to go for veg food. That's the best thing which I can have. My friends, my students were there. They said, sir, I said, no, please don't take this because you do not know tomorrow what will happen with you. So it is always better to have something which is, which you can have it. So, we saw, they have got a language, Bahaya, which is very, very, very interesting to understand, very interesting to know. And we made friends with people also during that time. I mean, still we are in touch with them. The way I used to pronounce, they used to pronounce in my language. So we used to laugh at each other and say that, well, you cannot speak my way, you cannot take my accent. I cannot take your accent also as well. It's, it's a different, you have to understand that. But of course, it was a very good program, a very good, you should say, an exposure which I had. I feel this is very necessary for all of us, for all the students. See, not for just going there, to understand the culture, the cultural diversity, the cultural, the epitome, the touring part, okay, the visibility part, interactions in different platforms, okay. What are the different marketing patterns, marketing style, products available, all, I mean, everything taken together, it's very, very important, right from the airport till the time the foreign currencies, how they can be given. All this is very important for them, for a student to understand. This is very, very important. And I think it should be done on a regular, if possible, on every 2-year time with everyone.
Okay, thanks a lot for telling us about the very fundamental difference that you experienced in Malaysia. Despite being a regular visitor, you just, you desisted from taking all that, and you chose to take veg food while you instructed your students also to have the same.
One more thing, we went there in the month of, during this Durga Puja time. So on Ashtami day, in the evening, I took all my students and my colleague who was there to this, to Malaysian Durga Puja panel. I spoke with them. The Arati was going on there. Okay, so the Sandhi Puja Arati was going on there at that time. So I made it a point that I should be there itself. And I was playing that concert. Okay, they said, okay, from Kolkata, you have come here, Bhattacharya, you've come here. I said, yeah, because I love this. And I was dancing to the tunes and all. They said, you please stay here. I said, no, we cannot, because we have to go back and stay in the hotel, because tomorrow morning we have a class, a session of the students. Okay, so I have to be there by let's say 11 o'clock. So, but we enjoyed thoroughly about that time. So I enjoyed during that time. I never felt I'm away from my home. So during Durga Puja, my family members missed me. I never missed. I mean, of course, I enjoyed a little bit, of course.
Great. Thanks a lot. And we are moving fantastic, interpretation given on the, basis of your foreign tour, and of course the sort of commonality or the sort of similarity that you observe there. How Durga Puja, is a binding factor for the people living across the world. It teaches all of us, my viewers, that we may belong to different religions, but nevertheless, all religions can converge at one point, because everything leads to the same God. Thanks a lot, Pinku. We are straightway coming to this question, because still we have got some questions to ask. Yes, sir. You are also a faculty in charge of entrepreneurship cell, organizing UPRINA 2020 Intercollege Entrepreneurial Meet in March 2020, jointly with CMA, that is Calcutta Management Association. Now, can you tell us, being a faculty in charge of entrepreneurship cell, as to what makes a man a successful entrepreneur? Please, your take on this.
Okay, you see, UPRINA 2020 was one of my brainchild, UPRINA 2020 and 2021 also we did this year in February. Okay. When I first thought about this name was suggested by one of my students. I said that we should have a inter-college entrepreneurial meet, a competition, wherein different students from different institutes, universities can come and showcase their idea. Okay, the purpose of this UPRINA was very, very simple. That is, people do not get place or a platform again where they can showcase their talent. I thought this is very necessary, because today's generation, they are always ready to do this. They believe in this, and The purpose, again, one more issue was that, as a faculty in charge of entrepreneurship cell, see, who is an entrepreneur? I call the person an entrepreneur when he can do something on his own, not only to serve himself, but to serve the society also as well. And he can take risk. He can have a good attitude, positive attitude, and he can do something different at the same. That means which is not in the traditional route. Okay, that means he's taking risk. These are the basic entrepreneurial qualities which an entrepreneur should have. It is quite different from self-employed. Okay, which I am not explaining here. But again, in the similar lines, when we did this Ukrainian was the purpose of was this right? I got tremendous response, and 20 colleges participated, and you won't believe the judges this time, this 2022, from 12th February, we did this Ukrainian 2021 along with CMA. CMA was, of course, one of the pioneers because I'm a life member of CMA, IMA. So CMA, I approached CMA, I'm a member of CMA also as well. So I approached CMA, and the CMA was definitely generous to accept my request and give me that chance to do this program. They also were very happy about this, that something different is happening. And when I told them, they said, yes, we will do it. We had some sort of issue, but we all agreed to that. We did it. It was tremendous success. Tremendous success. Right now, today, next week, from 6th of June to 11th of June, I have tied up with NITTTR, National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, Kolkata. And we are going for a 6-day course on creating and managing new ventures. It's a 6-day course, full-time course, packed course, okay. I've got some offers today. I was thinking about how to go about it. I've got some offer today only, that many of these institutes were not ready to go for this initially, but now they are ready to go for it. That means that gives you the strength. If you do something different, something which is not on a stereotype manner, you will definitely have some scope to serve the society. That is what I am for. That's why I'm a teacher.
Great. So actually, my dear viewers, here you have seen Dr. Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya, that is Pinku, my dear friend. Actually, Calcutta, what I found, during the course of my stay in Kolkata as well as Mumbai, the original Bengalis as well as Maharashtrians, I have found they are traditional job seekers. Fewest of you can dare enter into entrepreneurship, and that is what exactly is the need of the hour in both in Kolkata as well as Mumbai, especially from the Maharashtrian point of view, not from the Gujarati point of view, that we need to have the Bengali entrepreneurs and of course the Maharashtrian entrepreneurs. This is where our esteemed guest has tried to create some scopes and opportunities for the budding entrepreneurs whose overall endeavor is to create something new with a sense of innovativeness. And that is what exactly has been the forte and the bastion of our esteemed guest today, as a torch bearer to such aspirants who indeed want to graduate into a successful entrepreneur. Thanks a lot.
I tell you one more thing,
Yes.
I can give you issues, I can experience my experiences. Many of my students, one of my students was doctorate under me. He was doing a serving in a company. One day came and told me that, sir, I will leave the job. I have already left the job. I said, why? He said, sir, I'll go for a business. I said, fine. So initially I said, how will you go for the business? He said, I'll do it. I said, but do you have the money? He said, I'll arrange it somehow. I said, fine. Then one day he called me and said, sir, I am in a soup. I said, what happened? He said, sir, I cannot have enough money to pay my fees to the university for the PhD. I said, don't worry, I'll take care of that. I'll talk to the people out there. Then today, he has got a pharmaceutical company. He has got a pharmaceutical company with 10 men working under him. I don't know whether he's listening there or not. Dr. Aniruddha Bhomik is my scholar, first scholar under me. And I do not know, if I talk to him, he'll know how much I have drilled him, because I am of that nature. So no, I don't spare anybody for that purpose. So, but today, whenever I talk to him, he says, sir, but if anything happens, he calls me first and says, sir, this is what has happened. That is my mental solace. I have done not only for him, for many other students who become real good entrepreneurs today.
Great. Indeed, great, my dear viewers. So, as a professor or in the capacity of a professor, if somebody under his guidance can graduate into an entrepreneur, there can be no greater satisfaction or achievement than witnessing his own student blossoming into an entrepreneur. That has been a matter of optimum satisfaction for Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya. Indeed, kudos to you for guiding quite a few budding entrepreneurs into successful entrepreneurs. Great achievement. Coming to the next question, my dear Pinko, because we are, this is a very important question. You also held the position of professor and dean academics in Doon Business School, Dehradun. How you contributed towards improving the academic environment and adding values to the academic excellence there. Your take on this, please.
See, when I joined Doon Business School in 2011, initially I was a little bit hesitant whether I will be able to do it or not. But slowly and steadily, I found I changed the system many places, many ways. Well, I had problems with the initial with management. The management was, as you know, many places the management did not have that idea, the vision. Well, of course, we had interactions. Many times we had altercations also as well. Many times I was under the impression that, well, maybe I'll not be able to do this. But when I came to the students, when I went to the classroom and when I told the students and when I told them many things, and when I told them to do this and do that, I found today all of them are many of them are in touch with me. The day when I was leaving that place, because my mother, as you know, in 2000, my mother passed away. So I had to come back to Kolkata in 2013. The day I submitted my paper that I'll not be here, I found, almost, I was in the campus at any point of time, I had almost 1,500 students under me, okay, with all the courses, right? PG, UG, and all the other courses, right? MDPs, and ADPs, and so many other issues, right? So almost that day, if I remember still, almost 1,000 students, they came to my room. I said, I don't have any space to make you sit. He said, we'll stand here, sir. We want to hear from you the last, you said you have left. I said, sir, I'm not leaving you. I'm only leaving this place, this institute. No, sir, you're leaving us. We cannot allow you to leave. I said, you understand my point. It took me almost 40 minutes to understand that I am living because I have to. And with no regret, because people have come to me to stand and in front of me and tell me that I should not leave. That is the strength which I have achieved. That is the satisfaction which I have achieved from all of you. And they all sat down. It was raining heavily. They all came to my car. They said, sir, we will go with you. I said, where will you go with me? So then you said, then they gave me a, said, sir, we will give you a farewell. I said, I don't.
It's not coming.
Yeah.
Voice is not coming.
No,
no, it's okay.
It's okay.
No, it's okay.
Okay. I think no. Is it okay now? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
So what I found, then their attention, their attraction towards me was such. I felt that probably I have done something good for them. And even today, when they talk to me, even someone, if they used to do something wrong, mischief in the classroom, I used to go there and stand there and say like that, who has done it? They did not tell me there, but afterwards they used to come back and tell me that, sir, it was me who did it. I said, okay, next time I should not hear. See, they're all PG students. They were all mostly PG students, okay. So they had their own, they said, sir, we love you. And once you have said this, we'll never do it. That is something which is, You won't believe, when I was coming back to Kolkata, one of the students' father told me that, sir, in the when you're coming, if you have anything to do for, if I can do anything for you, please tell me. I said, no, please. I don't need anything, anyone's help in that pattern. But of course, if I require it, definitely I'll help you. I take it. In Dhanbad, I have to stay for 1 night because I was came through car. And in Dhanbad, when I was coming there, one of the students, I just called him and said, please arrange for a hotel for me. He said, so I'll arrange the best place for you. Don't worry. That's my responsibility. I said, okay, fine. He stayed there, brought me to the hotel, stayed there, saw it. My father was also with me there. So my daughter was very small at that time. But now, I mean, yeah, and we never faced any problem till the next morning. That is what, that is what the behavior, that love is, I should say, affection. They never forgot that. They forgot that I have scolded them so many times. So that is
Thanks.
what I think. That is what I have done probably.
Great. Actually, you were always on. My dear viewers, by now you must have seen, with all sort of candid replies coming all the way from our distinguished guest today, as to how he had throughout his career contributed towards shaping of the careers of all his students, and that too with a sense of selflessness. There was not an iota of selfishness in all the altruistic works that he did throughout his glorious career. Great. I'm coming to the last question because we are already at the end of the session. It has been a wonderful session, very engrossing, very, very electrifying, and indeed a scintillating one. The last question, of course, is very, very important because, my dear viewers, our esteemed guest has submitted lot many research papers. So now this question goes in this way. You also claim to have submitted a lot of research papers. Could you kindly throw some light on them? You can emphasize on the model which you think is the quintessence part of the marketing specialization. Your take on this, please.
See, there are so many different models which we use in different situations, in different analysis. Okay, you cannot think of only one model. Thousands of models are there. You have to think of which one. This is not a one-line answer. Okay, research is something just to go on forever. You just cannot say that I have done research. I'm still doing research. And that is one of my key areas, my forte, as you can see. Okay, it's not that I do it today and leave it tomorrow. It is something which which is written. I mean, it's in my blood now. Because when I talk to my students, my scholars, or my other students, I always think one thing that, how should this go on? How should this be progressing? And it takes its own course. As I said, you might have seen that. It doesn't. That I think, as I said, today after this session with you, as I said, I will think of a plan. Whether to think of a research on this particular issue, that how your episodes have been able to evoke response amongst the viewers. That's a research. That's a research. Now that itself tells me, or if I do that analysis and give it to you, that probably you will be able to derive a carve out of that, a graph out of that, where exactly it will land in next, say, 10 sessions or next 20 sessions. So that means that's a trained analysis. So see, you are doing a research, trying to get some secondary data, going through a research, giving a trained, right? This is a research also as well.
Great.
Okay.
My dear viewers, we have heard with all.
One more thing, I think Professor Pathak has joined long time back.
You just translate our conversation into Hindi.
Okay.
Before that, my dear viewers, today we have had a very, very intellectually scintillating session with Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya. My dear viewers, before I pass it on to Professor Dr. Surendra Pathak, our very valued partner, to translate our today's very electrifying conversation into Hindi, I just need to make one announcement pertaining to our next guest, Dr. Birbal Jha, who is the pioneer in terms of revolutionizing English education among the masses. He is going to be our esteemed guest on the 49th session, that is next Saturday at 7 p.m. Dr. Veer Bhalja, founder, chairman of British Lingua. He, the brand that he has built up is British Lingua. He is going to be our esteemed guest on coming Saturday. Now it is over to Dr. Shri Surendra Pathak ji. Sir, your take on this now. Your
नमस्कार
नमस्कार
प्रोफेसर
जी,
भट्टाचार्य जी।
नमस्कार जी।
मैं क्षमा चाहता हूं, मैं थोड़ा विलंब से ज्वाइन किया, इसलिए मैं पूरी बात नहीं सुन पाया। और आप जैसे विद्वान के बारे में बताना जो है, मुझे लगता है कि न्याय पूर्ण नहीं होगा, लेकिन फिर भी एक समझ में आई कि आप फाइनेंस से मार्केटिंग में आए और उसके बाद एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में जो है आपने एक अपनी जगह बनाई, और एकेडमिक्स में जो आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन है खासकर बिजनेस के क्षेत्र में, और उनके जो अलग अलग डायमेंशंस हैं जिसमें फाइनेंस भी है, मार्केटिंग है, जो कंज्यूमर का बिहेवियर है, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप है, और इसके अलावा एकेडमिक्स में भी जो रिसर्च में जो आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन है वो निश्चित रूप से एक लैंडमार्क वर्क है, जिसको संभवतः लोगों को प्रेरित करने के लिए, खासकर विद्यार्थियों में एक सभी चीजों को स्थापित करने में सहायक व सहयोगी होगा, ऐसा मैं उम्मीद कर सकता हूं। और मैं क्षमा चाहता हूं, मैं पूरी बात नहीं सुन पाया हूं, लेकिन फिर भी इतना तो समझ में आया है कि आपका जो एरिया है वो काफी बड़ा है, और उदारीकरण के बाद जो बिजनेस हिंदुस्तान में बढ़ा और उसमें आपकी एक बड़ी अहम भूमिका रही है, उसको मैं जो भी संक्षेप में समझ पाया हूँ वो इतना ही है ना। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। क्षमा के साथ फिर कभी आपसे मुलाकात करने का अवसर मिलेगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर।
because Professor Pathak ji, today he is in Ahmedabad and he has been taking classes with the Vidyapit University. So of course he could not devote much of time, but he is a very sensible man with a tremendous amount of erudition to his credit. He could make out about the immense depth of our today's esteemed guest, Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya. I thank Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya, my childhood friend, dear Pinku, for giving his invaluable time to on this August session of Educational Charcha. Today being 48th session, I'm sure my viewers who have been logged in with us up till now, they might have learned a lot. Those who are eventually going to log into a special video, they are going to get immense benefit from it, because one of the experts in the field of marketing for several decades had been talking all about the marketing funda. And of course, it is going to be very, very invaluable for all our viewers. With these words, I once again reiterate my announcement that on next very, very important guest, that is Professor Dr. Veer Bhalja, who is the founder chairman of British Lingua, who has revolutionized English education among the masses. He is going to grace and bless Education Pe Charcha. But my dear viewers, today we have had an exceptional session with Professor Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya, that is Pinku. And one thing I would like to say before I conclude, in our childhood days, his father was the only IAS officer in the entire locality, and he held the position of Registrar of Cooperative Societies in Calcutta when we were growing up. We were in our adolescence. Pinku's father, honorable father, really, means what you can say, a gem of a person, absolutely, perfectly a gentleman. He was the only IAS officer in our midst in those days. So I also offer my respectful, obeisance to, Pinku's honorable father, whom we very respectfully used to address him as Mr. Mosai. So, we wish him a very long life, because he has been a wonderful, absolutely a gentleman. And we know, I once again extend my best wishes to Pinku. The way he has been serving the students community, the sort of benefits, oceanic benefit the students community they have derived thus far. He, in the capacity of a marketing guru, though he denied the sobriquet which are conferred upon him as a marketing guru, but he is, the way he has so, in an expert way, he has elucidated so many the marketing funda, only an expert, only a man with a discerning pair of eyes, backed up adequately, adequately complemented and supplemented by, by the proficiency in the very given subject, can dare to articulate the way our esteemed guest has done today. So once again, I thank him. I thank Pinku from the core of my heart for giving his invaluable time, and wish him all the best once again. And I bid once again Professor Surendra Pathak, our valued partner for Education Pe Charcha, Sabya Pathak and Chandan Oraon. I greet all of you, return you back to the studio once again with the commitment.
One second before, thank you, Vivek. Thank you all for this wonderful session which I think I've been able to justify the questions which you have asked me. Only one thing, if you can have this, the link of this video, okay, because many of my people, I just saw WhatsApp, they said if you can have a link of this video, you can see it.
Yes,
and
yes.
To tell you, father, my Baba was actually doing his puja, so I couldn't give him the mobile phone because he's not so convenient with this moment. I can show him probably in YouTube if at all is possible. Okay, so I think it will be uploaded in YouTube also. So I'll show it to him. Okay. So thank you, Vivek. Thanks to you. Thanks to Mashima Mashima and to all of you, Cat family.
Thank you. And
thank you.
Goodbye, all of you. Thank you, Pinku. Thank you, Professor Pathak. Thanks a lot. See you.
Bye.
Bye. I'll do the needful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.